Avatar: The Last Airbender. One of my favorite shows, if not my favorite show of all time. I think I've seen it more times than any other show that I've ever watched. I used to just put it on in the background and leave it on auto skip, so it would just go to the next one whenever one would end, and it would just go all the way from episode 1 to the final episode and just run through, and then I'd restart it. I did the same thing with Korra. Didn't like Korra as much as the original series, but, you know, that first one was so good, it's hard to do better than that one. We got a new one coming on. We got new stuff coming on, and it's got me worried. All the news surrounding it has me worried that it's going to be worse than Korra. Hopefully it's not. I'll still watch it. Even if it's bad, though. I'm still gonna watch it. But it's gonna be the last time I watch the Last Airbender stuff, if it's bad. Just saying. Avatar: The Last Airbender remake, TV series, live action, whatever the fuck. Hated it. Pluh, pluh. Disgusting. Get that shit out of here. Avatar: The Last Airbender voice actors replaced for movie because they're too white. Wait, movie? What movie? What are we talking about here, movie?
For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And what year is it? Because I could have sworn that we talked about this in peak DEI, which would have been like 2020, that they were replacing white voice actors with people in the proper ethnic group. And now we're doing it again, apparently for the new Avatar movie, not live action, but animated Avatar movie, which a lot of people are excited about. But now the casting director is out on Reddit saying that they're going to cast the adult versions of the gang from their respective racial groups, even though we're dealing with a fictional world.
Okay, let's break this down. They're trying to not be racist by replacing the original voice actors with the appropriate races. So you're basing your actions on race. That's racism. You're judging people by their race, saying that they can't be the races that they portrayed originally because of their race. That's racism. Are we all together on this?
Of course they are.
So
And weren't the original actors for some of these characters available?
yeah, I think a lot of them are available. Some of them no longer act. I don't think the kid that played Aang, I don't think he acts anymore. But yeah, I'm sure that they would have gone back to work unless they were afraid of getting canceled. Because remember, in 2020, if you were a white person playing a non-white voice role, you were supposed to just step aside and let a sound-alike come in and take your job.
Right. And
Probably not even a sound-alike. It probably is completely different, and they're like, this is my character now. I can do better than the original.
the thing is, I get replacing them. If you're replacing all the voice actors, I kind of understand it for the new movie. But basically what you're telling me is that you only can play the character that you have the same ethnicity as.
Yeah, so let's...
Does that go for gender also? Can Bart Simpson not be a woman anymore because of this? Bart Simpson's a dude. Are we gonna have to make Bart Simpson trans now?
Let's talk about this. This is a very interesting development. It's not going very well. In fact, Reddit isn't real happy with it, and I guess it came out, as far as I can understand, it came out on an AMA where they had the casting director, and she flat out said, yeah, we're gonna cast from the right ethnic group.
If the original voice actors are available and willing to do it, do that. Just do it. Make something else that you want to have the voice actors be playing the appropriate races. Just do something new. They can't. They have to work off of an existing IP because they don't have good ideas. And it's not going to be as good as the original. But they know because of the IP that it'll make money.
Wow.
This time, unlike the original, which the cast was mostly white. I mean, I'm going to be honest, it was. So let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
look back through all of history of all of media. When is it ever a good idea to change the characters, change the vibes of the characters, change what the characters are all about in the original stories? Very few times does it ever work out. And everybody's thinking about, what are people going to think of this now? Nobody's ever thinking about, what are people going to think about this in 15, 20 years? Is this going to be known as one of the greats? Or is this going to get more shit than Korra?
Woohoo!
Go out to news.clownfishtv.com for more objective pop culture news. Yeah, so we can see the cast current year.
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them of Avatar. And a lot of them are white, including Grey Delisle. And here's another shot of them. Cultural appropriation. They're cosplaying as their characters. Are they allowed to do that?
No.
See, this wasn't bad. This wasn't racist until they made it racist. The fact that they're changing the voice actors makes this right here racist. That's what's so stupid about it. Just don't do stuff like this based on race. Just be natural. Just act natural.
They're not. That's just insulting. No, look, it's just stupid. Like I have always said, you have always said, we talked about this at length. I think that whoever is the right person for the character voice should be able to do the voice, regardless of, what ethnicity they are compared to the character.
Yeah.
They've done it for years with people that were playing characters that are very different from them. And it was fine. Nobody cared. And we've seen the problem with this and this mindset come back to bite some of the voice actors in the ass that were out there making those comments, and they were mad they couldn't get cast for any other roles because, they didn't fit the character. And it's like, well, you know what? That's what you...
White person says, I think we should hire less white people. Doesn't get hired ever again. They're so stupid. They're all so stupid. It's like Ouroboros. They can't stop eating their tail.
Wanted.
Yeah. In fact, Rook on X brought it up. Thanks, ProZD. ProZD, I think, was the one who was complaining. He was an Asian voice actor, and he was complaining about white people taking his roles or whatever. And then now, if I remember correctly, it backfired on him. And He's like, well, I'm not getting any calls now because they only want to cast me as an Asian guy. So basically,
well, you did that to yourself.
You did that to yourself. So basically what happened was, and here's where it's not fair, and we're gonna kind of get into the weeds here a little bit, is that some voice actors, I think Phil Lamar is actually one of them, and I actually like Phil Lamar. I like it. We talked to him a little bit at a convention before. I think he's an okay guy, but he's gone on record, I guess, as saying that he should be allowed to. He should only be allowed to voice, black characters as a black voice actor, but also he has access to all the other characters too, but it doesn't work in reverse. White people can't.
Yeah, no, it does. See, that's not, no.
They could have just made new characters and had new voice actors play these characters, even brought them to the forefront and made them like main characters and had these characters kind of be off to the side. Kind of what they did in Korra. They could have just done that, but no, they have to replace the originals. They're retarded. It's just dumb.
Bullshit.
I don't agree.
Bullshit.
With that.
And that's what I'm tired of. And then they act like, the bigots and the trolls and all that stuff. And I'm like, this bigot and troll, quote unquote, was out there saying that, you should be able to play whatever character you fit the voice of, including the Asian guy who shot himself in the foot. I would have argued on his behalf saying, well, he should be allowed to play whatever character that his voice fits. Doesn't matter what ethnicity they are. He's the one who pigeonholed and you put himself in a corner. So you know what? And Phil Lamar can suck it, because I don't care that we ate waffles or pancakes with you. That's a really shitty.
But we
thing
broke
to say.
bread with Phil Lamar, and
I know, but I'm just like, but then
Yeah,
you
it's
say
weird-
that.
it's
I
weird to
can
hear
play
him
any character I want, but you can't. It's like, no.
People were calling him out. They're like, dude, you played white guys, you played Asian guys, you Samurai Jack. I'm like, why is it okay for you to play outside your race? And he was kind of like, well, because there aren't as many roles for. It's like, no,
No, bullshit. That's a lie.
Rules for thee, but not for me. Every time, man. Every single time. They want to implement rules on everybody else, but they think that they're exempt.
That's racism in reverse.
That is the beautiful thing about voice acting, is you're not limited by your appearance. You're not even limited by your gender.
No.
So
Girls play dudes all the time.
yeah, I mean, especially women are playing like kids or more
Yes.
femme guys or whatever. It happens all the time, especially in anime. It's like very, very common.
I just watched Rugrats Go Wild yesterday, and like all of the boy characters are played by girls because they're children.
But you can play outside your race. You know, you're not typecast as long as the voice fits the character. That's really all that should matter. But during the peak of this insanity, we saw the voice actor for Cleveland get tossed overboard after 20 some years. And it started with the Apu documentary. We talked about that. Then everybody else was supposed to just follow suit. And then we had, I can't remember her name. Jenny, what's her name? She was on Big Mouth, whatever. She stepped away from her character too. That was like, okay.
I don't like Big Mouth. Big Mouth is kind of a disgusting show. I think it's really bad.
So now, because a couple people did it, now we got to push everybody out.
Yeah, you have to demand it now, and it's bullshit.
Jenny Slate, and then that happened in the Disney parks too. They went back and the animals were racist. They went back and they re-recorded lines from like Lion King characters to make sure, even though most of the cast of the Lion King, weirdly, and I'm gonna say it's kind of weird, weirdly were white, and you picked Matthew Broderick, who's like the whitest man on earth, to play. So that's a little weird, but still, it's his voice. But they were going through the park and they were like changing all the voices of the talking animals because they didn't want to be racist. I'm like,
that was that Stories Matter stuff. They
they're
also
gone.
didn't want to be like, insensitive to animatronic chimpanzees, but that's a whole nother story. It's just, I get what they're saying, but it's ridiculous when it comes to voice acting. If it's regular acting, okay, understandable. But we're talking about voice acting. You never see the person.
It's okay. I actually don't have a problem with voice, like having people play the characters that are their race. Have zero problem. I have zero problem with you only doing that moving forward if you're creating new things. If you're taking old IPs and then replacing everything because it's problematic now, we're gonna modernize this old thing that you like. That's when I have a problem with it, because the only reason they're doing that is because they can spout their politics, they can show off their agenda, their virtue signaling with an IP that makes money. They want to make money and push their agenda at the same time. They don't want to maximize their profits, they want to maximize their agenda. And making some money helps maximize that agenda, which is to get rid of all white people, basically.
And it's fine. If they're the perfect person for the character, then let them do their job. So now they're under fire because basically the casting director just said that, we're just going to cast based on ethnicity.
Right. So this is, as I understand it, this is kind of what kicked it off, because they had an AMA with the casting director, Jenny Ju, and this was a couple days ago.
Jew? What do you mean, Jew?
And they said, hey, thanks for the AMA. This is bookkeeper OK9677. I have a couple of questions regarding The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender. Is there any reason why you guys decided not to bring the original cast back for the ultimate nostalgia trip? The characters' voices are just so iconic and distinct, I find it hard to really accept anyone else in their roles. Plus, promoting the movie with the original actors coming back would break the internet and truly feel like the original show is back.
Well, they're right.
They're really trying to make the worst of the whole franchise right here. This is probably going to get more shit than Korra. It's probably not going to be very good. I could see it being a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10.
They're right. Is there anything you can tease about the new movie or when we'll get a first look? It's just been so dead silent that I don't even believe it's real until I see it. It's just my favorite franchise, so I'm very protective of it. Excited to see what the movie has in store, even though I'm not a fan of the recasting. I will try my hardest to be open-minded. I just really want to hear the original voice cast back together, voicing these characters one more time for their last hurrah. I think
if this turns out to be bad, or even 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, not exactly bad, but like average, then that means only half of Avatar, The Last Airbender franchise is even good. And only 1/4 is great. And that's not good. They're destroying the franchise. They should have just left it alone and just made something else, but they can't do that.
That is a very fair request, especially since even as of 2 years ago, the cast is getting back together. Most of the cast is getting back together, and they're all about it, right? So I don't think it was all of their decisions to step away.
They didn't know about it. They never know about it. They never contact the voice actors unless they want to hire them. If they're not going to hire them, they don't speak to them, and the voice actors always pop up in an interview, and they're like, well, I would have done it, but they didn't ask.
And this is what she said, Jenny Ju, casting director. I told Mike and Brian, that'd be the showrunners, that I understand how important it was to get this right for them and for the fans, because I'm a fan too. It's also my favorite IP. Then why the fuck would you recast everybody, Jenny?
I don't know. Yeah.
Why
I mean,
Because she wants to make her own thing. It's my favorite IP. You know how much of a dream it would come? What? How much of a dream it would be for me to be working on, like, Minecraft or Stardew Valley? That would be amazing. For me to be able to put my piece into one of those games. Or, like, for me to work on a show. Like Avatar: The Last Airbender. But I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. And I will ruin it. So her saying that she's a fan means nothing to me if she's just trying to make her own thing out of an IP that already existed, and she's terrible at writing and making casting decisions and just doing management at all. We're trying really hard to get this right. You don't have to try very hard. The formula's there to get it right. It's easy to see. Unless you're political minded and retarded. And everything's all about race and sexuality and like identity.
if
Fuck
people
would you
don't
do
want to
that?
come, if people don't want to come back, or they're unavailable, or they're unable to do the role now, or whatever, I can see it recasting those parts. But if they want to come back and they can still do the voice that you could tell was the character, then why didn't you just call them back? If you're a fan.
If you're a fan, yeah, right. Since the original show was released, there's been more emphasis in voiceover in the
She's full of shit. She's not a fan of the show. She's a fan of the money that it raked in.
that'd be voiceovers to match actors' ethnic racial
No, there
background.
isn't.
To the in 2020.
On Reddit there is, in these far leftist places, but most people don't care.
God, this is insane. Atla is a fictional world, but there are cultural influences for each nation and kingdom, and we wanted to explore the talent from those groups. Look, this isn't the live action version of Avatar. I fully agree that the live action version of Avatar was woefully miscast, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had characters that were obviously based on indigenous people being very, very pasty ass white, and frankly,
in the
not
movie,
very,
you mean?
in the movie, the original
Yes.
movie, the Shyamalan movie. Yeah. Wasn't very good. Casting was not good. Actually, I think the actors in the Netflix series are
Let's hope and pray that this movie isn't going to be as bad as the Shyamalan movie. I don't think so. I don't think it can get down to that level because these people have actually seen the show, at least, I think.
pretty good. That being said, these are voice actors. They can be anyone. And you're like, hey, we want to have this huge nostalgia trip. We want your money. We want all the fans to come back. We want to milk this IP, but we're going to recast everybody from the cartoon because we don't want to be racist.
Which is fucking racist. They don't get it. They really don't, man. I'm like banging my head against the wall.
Which is racist.
Yes.
Yeah, there's ethnic, character is behind them. Like, they're based on culture. And I'm like, okay, well, what about anime? There's a lot of anime characters that technically it's all Asian, but there are a lot of characters within the shows that aren't Asian. And so what are you going to do there? You cast someone that's Asian or cast somebody who's not Asian, because
Full Metal Alchemist, they're all like German. They're all different races, really, in Full Metal Alchemist. We're gonna have to recast all those, redo all the voices for the English dubs.
you're going to piss somebody off either way.
Yeah. So that you're gonna okay. Look, Avatar fans are incredibly protective of their IP. I think in this instance, given that they're voiceover roles and not flesh and blood live action, I think people would prefer to have the original voice cast back.
Yeah, the voices that they are a part of their characters. Not the journey that they went through and their emotions that they have. No, it's the voice, the way they look, the way they act, the inflections in the voice. It's gonna be all wrong. Yeah, they're older characters, their voice changed. But you keep the same kind of, there's something to the voice that's the same when you get older. And the inflections and the way you say things, your dialect, your dictation, all these language words.
Call me crazy, but I think they would. But yeah, this whole thing started with Apu, with Hank Azaria, and he chose to step down. He chose to step down, right?
And then that's kicked it all off.
And that kind of kicked it off. Actually, it was kind of simmering, and then once 2020 and the Summer of Love happened, then everybody started stepping down. Yeah, here's BoJack. Let's see. These
Allison Brie, yeah.
Allison Brie. 11 times TV characters of color were voiced by white actors. Yeah, I was actually surprised. Cleveland, I had no idea Mike Henry was a white dude.
That's because he was perfect for the role. That's what you call good voice acting and not giving a shit and acting natural.
I wasn't really paying attention. I don't really pay much attention to Family Guy. You know, it's like, it's on. It's like, okay, whatever. But yeah, white guy, 20 some years, thrown overboard. King of the Hill, The Simpsons. Yeah, Harry Shearer, The Simpsons. Justin Roiland, he got gone for other reasons.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing. Rick and Morty, Susan Sarandon, I forgot she was even on the show. Bob's Burgers. You know, again, these are like, the entire cast of Avatar. Oh, for fuck's sake. So that's why they put them on blast.
No, you know what? Good luck. People are going to be pissed unless you sound exactly like them.
Don't listen to the online weirdos. They never learn. They never learn. Just don't listen to the online weirdos. The internet's not real. Just do what you've always done. That's all you got to do. The formula's there.
If they can nail that, then maybe people don't care. But if they can't get it to sound right, they're gonna be mad. They're gonna say, "No, that's not right. That's not right."
So let me remind you,
I see myself watching that movie once and then making a video about it and then never watching it again.
We've talked about this before, that back in the 80s, we didn't care who was voicing a character. Like, you would hear these voices and you'd be like, okay, that's pretty cool. But Rainbow Bright,
nobody knew Darth Vader was a black guy and nobody cared.
little blonde girl was voiced by a black girl.
Jeff didn't care.
Penny Gadget, voiced by Cree Summer, black girl.
Didn't care.
Shredder was voiced by Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince. Didn't care.
Didn't care.
You know, I mean, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, isn't it? We have a black man voicing an Asian character.
Yeah, can we not have black people play white characters and Asian characters? No, we're still going to be doing that. Probably more and more. White characters can't be playing black characters, but we can have black characters playing white characters. Being racist against white people doesn't exist. That's not a real thing. You can't be racist against white people because they're systemically on top.
That's the one that's allowed. Yeah, that's allowed. You know,
Yeah, that's right, because Phil Lamar can do it, right? Yeah. So, but they had colorblind casting back then, and I know the one voice acting casting director got in trouble for simply saying that she turns around, listens to the voice, looks at the character, and tries to imagine if that voice can come out of that character, if that's the right voice. And you know, that's how it should be. I mean, we listened to this was years ago, but we were doing a thing for Shadowbinders, and we actually had several voice actors to pick from. Ultimately, didn't go through with it, whole thing. But we listened to just the voices. We didn't have headshots. And then the guy we picked turned out to be a black guy.
Yeah, it didn't matter. Didn't care.
But he got it. He understood the assignment. I didn't care. I was just like, no.
Yeah, he nailed it. So
that's
like,
the guy.
Social media really ruined everything, didn't it? And then the big sick happened, and it forced everybody online, and that's why everything got worse, because every single person got online, and regular people got off, and the crazy people stayed online. And everybody knows each other, everybody talks to each other, and all these companies see is people screaming at them constantly. And that's who they're interacting with.
Unfortunately, It didn't go forward, but that's the guy.
You know, he got paid for what he did do. And the thing is, it's like, we don't care about that. This is do you fit the character? If you fit the character, yeah.
If you don't care who plays the race, then why do you care now? That's what people are saying over and over again. No, I don't care what race the characters are that plays the character. Don't replace the original voice actors because of race. That's racism and it's stupid. It's even dumber when you're doing the racism when trying to not do it.
Yes, ultimately.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like the Avatar characters, it's going to be a problem if they don't sound like themselves because
It's gonna be a huge
it's such
problem.
an iconic IP. It's been years and years and years. Still keeps coming back around to it. I hope at least if they're going to replace them, it's with people that sound like them.
Well, that's even
Kubo and the Two Strings. Absolutely incredible movie. One of my favorite movies of all time. Highly recommend if you haven't watched it to watch that movie. It's like Legend of Zelda kinda, but in movie form.
more insulting, isn't it? Because that's what happened with Cleveland. They basically got a sound-alike off of YouTube. There was a black guy, and I mean, and they tried to be like, you tell he's being kind of like, hey, I'm really honored to pass the baton. And it's like, no, this is Disney making you do it. You didn't do this willingly, dude. You didn't play this character for 20 some years and just like pass the baton to some rando off of YouTube, right? They told you had to step down because, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, but that's even more insulting because it's like they're aping your voice, right? I mean, you have Gray Delisle. So, boy, this is going to be complicated, isn't it? Gray Delisle got incredibly ass mad. She plays Azula. She got incredibly ass mad because she thought an independent animator was using AI to copy her Daphne voice, and
Yes.
actually turned out it was the original Daphne and not her. So this is complicated. Hey, great. We're going to go hire somebody that sounds just like you to play Azula in the
It has to be an
follow-up.
Asian person, yeah.
Has to, but she's going to be Asian. She's just like you, but Asian. Are you okay with that?
The only way I can see this moving forward, so there's no problems with anybody, is they just replace all the voice actors with AI. Then you don't have to worry about the race. Then it's just a battle against humans versus AI.
And
well,
you
yeah,
have
she's
to
gonna
be.
say she's gonna.
You're
be,
gonna
because
have
she's
to
gonna get
be.
your butt canceled if she doesn't. The thing's so stupid. I just think it's absolutely dumb, and I think they're gonna have to match it very closely, or people are gonna start screaming about it because
I
people aren't
mean,
gonna notice until they go to
that's-
listen to it, and then they're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if Aang starts speaking with like a French accent or something,
Well, they're
it's
not
like,
gonna
okay,
do that because he's obviously
that's
French,
wrong.
But you know,
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
What's going to be really bad is if they change the design of the character and the voice, and you see a character that was like kind of one of the side characters, and you're like, I don't know who this is supposed to be. Probably not going to happen, but I could definitely see it happening because these people like to change the designs of everybody because they think they can do better than the original.
you know, he's French and Asian. He was available.
Yeah.
Come on in. But you know, and obviously they were going to recast him anyway because I don't think the kid that played him does voice acting anymore. But yeah, it's just, I mean, I think it's stupid. I think this is a really.
I think it's stupid too. But you
This is a
know,
really poor choice.
I think it's really dumb, and everybody else probably thinks it's really dumb too.
Yeah, this was
Everybody except for the people who aren't going to watch it. The people who aren't going to watch it are like, why are you so mad, man? Why are you so mad, bro? You're just a racist if you think that these people are racist. I think it's going to be better than the original because they did this decision.
this is a YouTuber who does the claymation or whatever, but he was talking about the situation with voice acting and how slippery the slope is once you start recasting people. But yeah, Quarter Black Garrett here says trash decision, disrespectful to the cast that made the show great. Screw off with this. Jacob Airy, hey Jacob. No one gives a crap about that. Real fans want the original voice
Yes.
cast. Yeah, and they were deleting comments on Reddit too.
Yeah, I'm not just a fan of the voice actors. I'm not just a fan of the show. I am a fan of the voice actors in the show. Not just the characters, of the people who played them because they played those characters.
Oh, shocker!
Oh
They
my
would
God.
never.
You don't need to be the same skin color as the character you voice act. That's just simply retarded. Yeah. Dante Bosco gets to keep playing Zuko just because he's Asian.
Well, now the bureaucracy machine says that it's done, and these are the new voice actors. They've replaced the voice actors. They can't reverse the decision now. They've already put too much paperwork into it. It's lost in the system. They have to do it by law now, probably. They're contractually obligated.
But the rest of the talented actors don't get to reprise their roles because they're white, stupid. Fuck them. Yeah, lost all interest in the movie. Screw this nonsense. This has to be the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Not gonna lie. Look, a little blue wave. Look, I don't think he's white either. Look at that. Not happy. Not happy with it. Where do you even find an actor from the Fire Nation?
Yeah, that was something I've been seeing people say. Like, we have to find somebody from the Earth Nation, the Fire Nation, the Water Nation. Good luck finding somebody from the Air Nation to play these characters.
That's perfect.
That's
Oh my
great.
God,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. That wins.
This is not gonna go well for them. But like you said, I think that most people, most casuals, are not even gonna notice unless the voices sound very, very different.
Mm-hmm.
So
That is a really good point. Wait. Let me get this straight. They're trying to match character, race, and ethnicity for voice actors who you don't see, but live action shit gets race swapped all the time. Lumfeo. Yeah, true. They're always race swapping characters. Why do they care now? Because they're always just trying to do the wrong thing. And they're going to use IPs that already exist because they can't come up with original ideas and they're just trying to make a quick buck. Because they know that stupid people are going to watch it. And I'll tell you something. I'm going to watch it. I'm not paying for it. Take that however you want to see it. Whichever way you want to go. That's all for this video. I got t-shirts down in the description. You should buy one. I worked really hard on the designs. I'm out.